At the risk of making time worse, I actually decided as I put together all of my presentations for this week that I wanted to have a slide that sort of put everything into context. So this is a slight diversion from storytelling, i.e. I'm now going to tell you a story. So we have data. This is a data conference. There are narrow and broad definitions of data. I'm a proponent of the broad definition, which includes algorithms and workflows and not just input data, but also output data. I have a presentation tomorrow on open science, which is the concept of this wider definition of data and this cyclical nature of one person's output is another person's input, and you're building on the shoulders of giants, as it were. Then once you have data, which I would argue is high cost, it costs a lot of money to collect the data, but it has zero value. Until you do something, until you transform that data, it's not going to benefit anybody. Unique showed a very similar process here, going from data to information, where you have low cost, but arguably still low value, not zero value. Information only has value when it gets into people's hands and it changes their decisions. So you need dissemination, which brings us to storytelling. That's one way of disseminating information. I'll also, in another presentation, be talking about decision support tools, which is a little more hardcore, less fun than storytelling, but same idea. And you get into knowledge. Knowledge now has low cost, it's just the cost of dissemination, but very high value. So I'm arguing that's where we want to get to that point. That box is the sphere I work in. It has been said that once you apply knowledge and acquire experience, you achieve wisdom. I am personally starting to be despondent about the amount of wisdom in our world today, so I think that's more theoretical than reality, but that's for a discussion over beers tomorrow night or something. So now I'm going to talk about storytelling. Most important takeaway is PowerPoints and conferences are so passé. So one of the reasons I want to use my own computer is I'm going to go live. This is very dangerous. We'll see where it takes us. A lot of this is already, the rest of this has been said. Unique said it very well. What I'm presenting is a tool, yet another tool. It's somewhere between Peter's tools and Unique's tools, so take it as you will. I'll go live in a second, but one of our tools for disseminating information, this is more the decision support side, is what we call a dashboard. Part of that dashboard is a storytelling tool. So that's what I'll be focusing on now. Trying to differentiate from what you've heard from the others. Our tool for storytelling is where its strength is the idea of getting very large data sets into maps. So we're talking geospatial data, often Earth observation data. So we could be talking about terabytes, potentially petabytes of data. Unique, it's not going to fit into a spreadsheet. So I think that's the differentiation. Peter's does, I think, to some extent, be closer to where I'm going here. So, and apologies, I also didn't go into presenter mode. So we want to go to, so this is the dashboard. This is live. You have a map which you can interact with and zoom in and out, etc. On the left here, you have legends and timelines. On the upper right, you have metadata about whatever data you're looking at. You have the capability to interact and, at a simplistic level, analyze the data. So on the bottom right here, I've defined a bounding box, and we've got a graph of the data in that bounding box. I can go over here. We have a very large number of indicators. Most of these are, I would call, closer to information in that they're taking foundational Earth observation data and doing some analysis on it to give you some information. So right now you're looking at sea ice concentration, but I could bring up currents, tides, ice thickness, et cetera, et cetera. Won't go into that. So now we're going to talk about stories. This dashboard has a tool which allows you to start to tell a story about the data that's here. So if I wanted to tell a story about this data, I can click on my little button here, and it creates a whole bunch of code in markup language, which is somewhat readable even to someone like me who doesn't know how to code. But, you know, it's not all that. You have to give it some thought. But you don't really need to worry about that. You just say copy, and I go over here to my editor, and I say I want to put in a map, and it just puts some dummy data in there, which I now paste my new code. And on the right here, you can see the markup language. So you can go in and edit things if you like. You can hide that if you just want to look at it. And now we have a map with the data that we already saw, and it's done in a scrolly telling way, i.e. you've got text which will come up and explain the data. And it's, you know, it's a real map. You can zoom in and, well, I can't get this to work, presumably pan around, etc. So that in a nutshell is the capability. I'm just going to quickly show you some variations on this. So I'm now in the sort of user manual, which is also done in a scrolly telling way. Typically, the stories start with what they call a hero image. So here we've got a satellite taking off. As you put in new sections, it automatically creates a menu. So these are the sections, and you can click on them and go directly to them. Again, I can click on this and see the code that's behind all of this, or I can turn that off. You can go into that window and edit it. And I won't belabor all of the instructions here, but it'll show you some. Here's another map that's embedded. Oops, go away. So here we've got a map tour. So we start off with one map. We've got some text. We've got some more text. And as you scroll, it automatically zooms in, automatically changes the image, in this case from a typical map to an EO image. Zooms someplace else, tells you some more information, and you can put in movies, you can put in pictures, etc. And as the very end here, this is a story that we've created for our project we have with the European Space Agency called Cerulean Information Factory. the details of that aren't important for this purpose. But again, we've got this hero image, which is a ship going through sea ice. We have a movie of our dashboard, so it's pre-canned, going through, clicking on things. We have some pretty pictures with some explanatory text. And these are some of the capabilities. So in this case, if you come to our workshop on ship navigation in ice on Friday, you'll get lots more explanation of this. But the colorful red is actually an AI interpretation of Sentinel-1 image, which classifies sea ice. Overlaid on that, you've got the some Sentinel-1 SAR EO data. And if I go up, scroll it here.
Just to clarify, David, Sentinel-1 is the ship on the satellite?
Sorry, I'm so accustomed to talking to EO experts. Sentinel-1 is a synthetic aperture radar satellite.
Okay.
In Canada, the equivalent, it would be RadarSat Constellation mission. And then on top of that, you can see here an ice chart. So there are sea ice services run by polar governments that where you have human experts who interpret the SAR image and draw maps for ships. And the future is to fire them all and have computer AI do it. Another whole story we could talk about. And this is another thing we do. We process satellite data to get ice drift and deformation information. But yeah, I won't belabor this. These are all different capabilities within the dashboard. I think that's enough. I'll try to get us back on time. Mostly what I want to say is the dashboard and the storytelling is available. If you have you can create, you can get your own dashboard created if you have data you want to make public, and you can use the dashboard to create your own stories.
Is it open source?
It is. And like all open source, you'd be a fool to try to do it yourself.